Remember when Lightfall launched and everyone thought Titans got the short end of the stick with the new Strand subclasses? This S-tier Berserker build is here to prove the haters wrong. In today's video, we're going to go over the Berserker subclass for the Titan and how it becomes one of, if not the best crowd control subclass in the game. Heavily focused on the ability to suspend targets, you'll be weaving a vast web of Strand wherever you go, clearing out waves of enemies and even stopping champions dead in their tracks. If you enjoy the video, then a like is greatly appreciated, and consider subscribing for future Destiny 2 content. But let's not waste any more time and hop right into the build. Kicking things off, we'll take a look at the centerpiece of this Berserker setup, the new exotic boost for the Titan, Abeyant Leap. With their intrinsic perk Puppeteer's Control, your Drenger's Lash will spawn 2 additional waves of Strand for a total of 3, that track targets more aggressively and travel further to seek out targets to suspend. Additionally, and probably one of the best features of this exotic, you gain Woven Mail when suspending targets. Now to quickly touch base on Woven Mail, when applied you'll gain extra damage resistance, which to my understanding is a 50% increase for a short period of time, allowing you to continue to push in close proximity with whatever's in front of you and quickly suspend and defeat them with ease. Starting off with the super ability Blade Fury. 2 blades of Strand will appear on your hands and you'll hack and slash your way through whatever's in front of you or inflict massive single point damage. With your light attack, you'll sever enemies, effectively lowering their damage output while also dealing additional damage to any enemies that are suspended. With your heavy attack, you'll launch 2 projectiles out that seek targets and suspend them. This super works best using your light attacks on suspended targets. Keeping that in mind, it's great to open up your super with the heavy attack to suspend anything in front of you that isn't already in the air before fever clicking your light attack. For the rest of your abilities, you'll want the Rally Barricade, as has the lowest cooldown of the 2 available options, allowing you to spam more barricades and suspend more enemies as fast as possible. Your melee Frenzied Blade allows you to dash forward and sever anything you hit. Again, severed targets have a reduced damage output, in other words they deal less damage to you, and when defeated these severed targets will create a tangle that you can pick up and throw at enemies or shoot for explosive area of effect damage. Lastly, for your grenade, you can make good use of the Shackle Grenade to suspend anything hit by its area of effect or clean up a group of red bar enemies. Jumping into the aspects, you're going to be using the only 2 currently available, Drenger's Lash and Into the Fray. With Drenger's Lash, activating your class ability will send a wave of Strand forward from your barricade, suspending and damaging anything hit. Normally this is only a singular wave, but paired with Abeyant Leap, you'll send out 3 instead of 1. With Into the Fray, you'll be granted Woven Mail when destroying a tangle, and while you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration rate is increased. Next up, the 4 fragments that tie your subclass setup together. Thread of Continuity increases the duration of Strand debuffs, but we're only really going to focus on Suspend and Sever with this one. With Thread of Mind, defeating suspended targets grants class ability energy, allowing you to more quickly take advantage of the synergy between Drenger's Lash and Abeyant Leap. Next, Thread of Warding, which grants Woven Mail when picking up an Orb of Power. Honestly, this is just nice to give you coverage and ensure that you have that damage resist from Woven Mail 100% of the time. Lastly, I threw in Thread of Generation to generate grenade energy when dealing damage to targets. It's not an astronomical amount, but paired with something like a demolitionist weapon, and you'll be throwing your grenades left and right. Next, let's look at some of the seasonal mods you can use with this build to take it to the next level. Starting off with the mod Untangler. The Strand Focus mod makes it so that any target hit with the AoE damage from a detonating tangle will be suspended. Pair that with the Threaded Blast and a Strand weapon, and your tangles will create a larger and more damaging explosion, effectively suspending even more enemies. With Counterweave, when you or anyone in your fire team stuns a champion, you'll receive energy for your least charged Strand ability. With Allied Unraveling, you will gain Unraveling rounds for your Strand weapons, allowing you to pierce anti-barrier champion shields. And lastly, the GOAT of Season 20, Volatile Flow, which gives your Void weapons volatile rounds after picking up an Orb of Power. And using these mods, you can see that your weapon loadout will favor both Strand and Void weapons, as you will have the ability to handle both Unstoppable and Barrier champions thanks to applying volatile and unraveling rounds to your weapons, and Unstoppable champions being stunned while suspended, not to mention the fact that you can suspend any champion, allowing you more time to properly set up to take them down should they surprise you or get the jump on you or your fire team. With the new build crafting that launched in Season 20, the mod system has been made easier to understand while also providing new mods and mod combinations never seen before. Because this build centers around your barricade and grenade to suspend targets, let's do a quick top down of the mods used in this setup. On your helmet, you're going to want to make sure you're creating orbs with one of the Siphon mods that corresponds with your matching weapon type. Void and Strand have a dual Siphon mod courtesy of the seasonal artifact that plays nicely with this build, ensuring you have non-stop orbs of power on the field. I threw in Ashes to assets in the event my Shackle Grenade cleans up some kills, and a Finder mod just to feed me special ammo. On the gauntlets, Heavy Handed will allow your charged melee kills to generate an Orb of Power, again giving you Woven Mail with this build, and then Focusing Strike and Bolstering Detonation to give you class ability when causing damage with either your charged melee or your grenade respectively. On the chest piece, I double stack Charged Up to further increase the amount of armor charges able to be carried, but you can always swap one or both of these out if you feel the need to slot some resist mods like Concussive Dampener or any of the elemental resist mods available. On the legs, you'll find the Surge mods. These mods can stack with diminishing returns, and I personally find that 2 is the sweet spot, offering around a 17 to 18% increase in weapon damage for that element. Feel free to slot surge mods that match your preferred weapons of choice, but this season you'll almost always find me on Void to pair with Volatile Flow. Further bump up the ability regen, the mod Innervation will reduce your grenade cooldown for each orb of power that you pick up. Lastly, on the class item, double stacking Bomber helps with grenade energy cooldowns, and Distribution helps with all your ability cooldowns. Both Bomber and Distribution will proc when using your class ability. That's the long and short of the build itself. Being heavily focused on both ability spam to suspend targets and everything tying together to refund energy as you're defeating said suspended enemies, this is not necessarily the top slot meta build out of all the Titan subclasses. However, being able to control endless waves of enemies and champions alike, I can see this making an appearance in some GM content as well as master raids. I haven't had this much fun learning a Titan playstyle since I initially fell in love with Behemoth back at Beyond Light, and to this day still favor Behemoth over them all. This is definitely going to stay in my top 10 builds in my in-game loadout selections, but don't worry, the dim link is down below in the video description if you want to use that instead. That's it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed it or found anything at all helpful, then a like is greatly appreciated, as well as subscribing to the channel, both of which are totally free and help support me. Alright, I'm done, I'm out, and I'll see you all in the next one.